The worst acting moments in WWE. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new videos on Wrestlelamia XL. Number 10. John Cena's hilarious reaction. For the 2012 Money in the Bank pay-per-view, WWE delivered an all-star lineup for the Raw Money in the Bank briefcase. Names in the match included the likes of John Cena and Chris Jericho, and whilst the match wasn't too crazy, it was well booked and managed to showcase each wrestler. The finish of the match came when Cena was continuously hitting Big Show with the briefcase when suddenly it snapped off. This wasn't the planned finish, as it's widely believed that this wasn't supposed to snap. Due to the awkward nature of the botch, Cena had to react in the moment, and as a result, Cena pulled the most humorous facial expression. In Cena's defense, he was put in a difficult position, and despite Cena delivering some of the worst acting of his career, at least his reaction turned into a viral meme. Number 9. Linda McMahon is slapped. Vince McMahon decided to make his wife Linda McMahon an on-air character during the Attitude Era was a very bold move. Whilst the likes of Vince, Shane and Stephanie were outstanding TV characters, the same couldn't be said for Linda, as she was often wooden and looked completely lost. Take for instance on SmackDown in 2000, Linda would be booked in a segment with Stephanie where Stephanie would slap her right across the face. Linda's acting in the build-up to the slap was shockingly bad, and when Linda was hit with the trademark slap, she fell down in a heap. It's unknown why exactly Linda was consistently booked for segments of this nature, as each time she appeared on screen, it looked as if she couldn't wait to get the segment over and done with. Number 8. Gangrel speaks. Gangrel was one of the coolest and innovative characters of the Attitude Era, and Gangrel managed to keep his mystique as a character, but that was until WWE made the reckless call to have Gangrel speak. He would speak in a bizarre forced accent, and he would be noticeably shaking during his promo as he was clearly uncomfortable. It wasn't pleasant viewing, and the illusion of the vampire-esque character was shattered the moment he opened his mouth. Not every wrestler is going to be able to deliver a compelling promo, and the WWE should have tested the waters backstage to see how Gangrel would have delivered in this field. Some state that this was the beginning of the end of the Gangrel character, as his role in WWE would slowly be diminished in the months and years following the infamous promo. Number 7. Buckle up, Teddy. In 2009, for a brief period, WWE actually tried to book a program between The Undertaker and Teddy Long. Long had screwed the dead man out of the world title, and Long was paranoid on TV that the former world champion. The direction for Long was clearly to act terrified, yet it was apparent that Long didn't know how to act in a convincing way, so we decided to deliver the most comedic gasp and facial expression. Smoke would then appear in the limo, and WWE implemented cheap-looking visual effects that did little to help the segment. Long's acting got even worse when he tried to break free out of the limo, and WWE even added a distorted voice change to the segment, which has aged it horribly. Fans were confused at the time as to whether this was supposed to be a serious storyline. The acting was so laughable that it pushed the segment into parody territory, and this was likely a factor as to why the feud between the two was dropped shortly after. Number 6. That's not phenomenal. The WWE's production team are prone to errors, especially when broadcasting a live pay-per-view such as the Royal Rumble. In 2016, AJ Styles debuted in the annual Rumble match, and as AJ's music began to play, for whatever reason, the camera stayed on Roman Reigns, who was standing tall in the ring. Reigns was eventually struggling with how to react, so we decided to pull a confused face that quickly turned into a meme, and this meme was commonly used on social media when WWE would make a baffling, nonsensical booking decision. Reigns wouldn't have been expecting the camera to linger on him for an eternity, as like most people would assume the camera would be laser focused on AJ's debut. Number 5. Batista's hilarious sell. Upon leaving WWE, Batista embarked on a career in Hollywood. The move has turned Batista into one of the biggest movie stars on the planet, and he starred in some of the biggest movies of the past decade, and even the toughest critics have praised his performances. Whilst Batista's acting chops were often on display in WWE, particularly when he was a heel, in one match he did show some of the worst acting imaginable. Batista was about to hit a Batista bomb on his arch-rival John Cena, and this is when Mark Henry made the save. Henry would push Batista, and due to the little contact, Batista struggled with how to sell the move, so he proceeded to take a few steps backwards and deliver the funniest back bump of all time. It was as if Batista was lagging in real time. It was a memorable moment for all of the wrong reasons, and the WWE legend was probably incredibly embarrassed when he saw the footage back again. Number 4. Eva Marie trips. The summer of 2021 saw WWE book a feud between Alexa Bliss and Eva Marie. Bringing Marie back in the first place was a questionable move, as Marie wasn't exactly Sasha Banks in the ring, and her acting performances were often scolded by fans. The feud exposed Marie as ultimately not having what it takes to be a top star on the main roster, and a lack of skills were on full display during a backstage segment in Alexa's playground. In that segment, Marie would seemingly trip over a swing, yet Marie sold this in such a weird way that it was unclear what was supposed to even happen. Marie clearly made no contact with the swing, so fans assumed that the segment was supposed to imply that Bliss's doll Lily was the one who tripped her. It was so unbelievably bad, and segments like this, as well as their featured match at that year's SummerSlam event, led to the feud being considered one of the worst feuds of 2021, in the eyes of the strong portion of the WWE fanbase. Number 3. Triple H is terrified. The men's 5v5 Survivor Series match in 2017 was a total letdown. The match became the Triple H and Shane McMahon show, which did little to further any characters that were actually full-time talents on Raw and SmackDown. The finish of the match saw Triple H pin McMahon after a pedigree, and this would anger Triple H's teammate Braun Strowman. Strowman began to choke the game, and whilst the game's selling was usually on point, Triple H sold it in such an over-the-top manner that it could have easily led to fans bursting out with laughter. This type of angle, if done in a serious way, could have worked if WWE were building towards a Triple H vs Strowman matchup, but that simply wasn't the creative direction. The match never even happened, and the angle went absolutely nowhere. Number 2. Vince McMahon is relieved of his duties. Whilst the summer of Punk was a successful time period for WWE in 2011, they did make some unusual booking calls. One of these calls was to present Vince McMahon as a primary figure on TV once again. This just did a little to save the segment from being an uninspired train wreck. And number 1, horror turns to comedy. And Daniel Bryan's first feud as WWE Champion following WrestleMania 30 was against Kane. Kane reverted to the demonic version of his character, and the feud was supposed to highlight Bryan as a heroic babyface who could take down a monster like Kane. Unfortunately, they booked the two in such an outlandish segment that the feud became a laughingstock. Brie Bella was also involved in the segments, and her performances in them were extremely amusing. In one particular segment, Brie and Bryan would then try to exit the arena to escape Kane as they went into their car, but the car wouldn't start. Bryan's reaction was fairly normal, yet Brie delivered some abysmal acting with lines such as,
"Are you serious? Come on! Daniel! Hurry!"
Magically, Kane appeared in the car, and as Kane attempted to kidnap Brie, she delivered the fakest, most painful screams in existence. The segment was heavily panned by fans, and this isn't what they exactly had in mind for Bryan's first featured feud as WWE World Champion. But there you have it, folks, the worst acting moments in WWE. What do you guys think for a part 2? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.